You are Locked On Wolves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Timberwolves' new acquisitions may not have made their Target Center debut on Friday night, but it's very easy to see why the Timberwolves made some moves that they did. As Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans come back from an 18-point deficit in the second half to take down the Minnesota Timberwolves by a score of 119-115. Wolves dropped to 5-2 over their last 7 games in the aftermath of losing 5 straight. Had a chance to get up to the 4 spot in the West tonight, but couldn't quite get there. And would have been nice considering they had a chance to get right behind the Nuggets, who just lost Peyton Watson to a hamstring injury for the next 4 to 6 weeks, and just couldn't take advantage of what were really strong games from Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. What's going on? Back at it tonight for another Wolves postcast here on the Locked On Minnesota Network, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Which, thanks to all of you guys, is now the #1 sports podcast network nationwide. I'm Jack Borman, riding solo tonight without my co-host Luke Inman, who will be back with us on Sunday. This is our live reaction show. We go live within about 10 minutes of every game coming to a close. So if you are listening to the Locked On Wolves audio feed, please check us out on YouTube. Subscribe there so you get notified every time we go live after every Timberwolves game. Also, please go follow our guy Ben Beacon, who does an excellent job hosting the Locked On Wolves Daily Show right here on this YouTube channel and on the Locked On Wolves audio feed. We'll get into who fudged up. We'll get into another excellent Anthony Edwards performance and an X factor and what we'll be talking about. But first, Wolves don't have their new trade acquisitions, Ayo Dosunmu and Julian Phillips, available for this game. It was mostly a rest night for those two guys after what's been a crazy week for them with a lot of games in Chicago and traveling and all that good stuff. So they will play on Sunday. They'll both be active for that game. Pelicans coming in just 3-7 in their last 10, 1-4 in their last 5. Also made a trade at the deadline, traded Jose Alvarado back home to the Knicks at the deadline for Dalen Terry, who was waived before this game, so was not there, and also got some second-round picks in that deal. It was the 28th straight game played for Zion Williamson, which is a new career high, kind of a crazy stat. Meanwhile, Jordan Poole was healthy and caught a DNP CD for the 7th straight game, which is kind of crazy. But without him, the Pelicans were off and running in the first half, had just a dunk fest, running off of makes and misses, had a couple of half-court lobs to Zion and Trey Murphy III, which were crazy. Yves Missi had an awesome putback. Naz Reid had a big dunk of his own. The Wolves shot the 3 really well in the first half. It was great to see both Naz and Bones start really well. They started 4 of 6 from the floor for 10 points off the bench. And Jaden McDaniels is in foul trouble early in this game, in the second quarter especially. Had to sit the final 9 minutes of the half. But that allowed the Wolves reserves to come in and make a little bit of an impact. We saw Jalen Clark play well. He had 4 offensive rebounds in that first half. Johan Berenger and Johnny Juzang both got in the game. Johnny Juzang, we'll get into it later, had a really cool moment, had a big block on Murphy in transition that led to a Julius Randle layup the other way. Ant just mobbed him at half court, which was sweet. Then he hit a left corner 3, which was big to get the Wolves to a game high 12-point lead at that point. And the Wolves ended up leading 70-56 at the break with all the good vibes in the world. But the Pelicans came out of the half furious in the third quarter, which is strange considering that they're the 29th in net rating in that third quarter. But they had a 7-0 run to cut it from 18 to 11. Zion and Trey Murphy III were just relentless in that quarter. They combined for 25 points in the third quarter. Wolves, really did not do well in that third quarter. I believe they lost it 38-22 to cut the lead down to just 5 entering the fourth quarter on the back of 5 Trey Murphy the third 3-pointers in that third quarter alone. And then he went to the bench early in the fourth quarter. So they went straight to Zion Williamson, who got to the foul line 3 straight trips for 6 free throws. If there's any solace in the Wolves losing this game, Zion did go bricking for chicken, so there is free Chick-fil-A tomorrow. But one of those fouls sent Jaden McDaniels back to the bench. Foul trouble. It was his 5th foul at that point. Pelicans then go on a 16-4 run to go up 4. Anthony Edwards, Bones Highland come back with some major plays. Rudy Gobert, game-tying free throws. But the Wolves just did not have enough in the closing minutes of the closing couple of minutes of this game, as Zion Williamson had to go ahead, ultimately the game-winning and one. And then Saddiq Bey put the cherry on top with a couple of free throws. So to zooming out, big picture, I think, again, even though the Wolves lost this game, I still think that on a personal level, I mean, it's just unbelievable to watch Zion Williamson up close, right? I mean, he remains one of the best shows in the NBA. And I would argue that, if you I obviously know that folks don't necessarily have the means to be able to see guys up close very easily. But if you do, Zion is absolutely one of those guys that I would recommend seeing. He just moves differently than any athlete I've ever seen in my life. Just an absolute force in the paint. Had 22 paint points in this game, which is absolutely ridiculous, considering that, that's almost half of what most NBA teams average in a game. He shot 11 of 11 at the rim, and it sure felt that way. He added 7 more points from the free throw line, got there 9 times. And part of the problem was that Jaden McDaniels just couldn't stay on the floor when they got matched up with him. He had just 22 points, 22 minutes, his fewest in a game since January 4th against the Wizards. He missed time in the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter because of his third, fourth, and fifth fouls, respectively. And then it was just part of another night where the Wolves have really struggled to slow down opposing stars, right? You look at Saddiq Bey had 30 points, Zion 29 points, Trey Murphy 26 points, combined for 86 points, or 85 points, excuse me. They had 49 in the second half. All three of those guys had at least 15 in the second half. So hopefully that's an area where Ayo Dosunmu can really make an impact, is just another kind of horse in the stable, if you will, that can go out and play some really good defense on guys that are bigger than him, but also on guys that are a little twitchier and faster, like a Trey Murphy the third. Obviously wouldn't expect him to guard a guy like Zion, but he would certainly be an upgrade over Dante DiVincenzo in that. And I think would still be able to provide you some of the offensive spark that Bones Highland is able to provide. But yeah, also just a rough shooting night for the Timberwolves from three. They started out 9 of 20 in the first half from three. I believe that's 40%. Or 45%. They then shoot 4 for 20 in the second half, which is just god awful. 20%. And Pelicans 5 of 14 in the first half, and then they end up shooting 10 of 20, 50% in the second half. Trey Murphy was 5 of 7. Derek Queen made 2 really big threes as the Wolves kind of ignored him as a 3-point shooter. And Pelicans coming in 28th in 3-point percentage at 33.8% per game. Wolves at 4th and 37.1%. So there's definitely some 3-point variance involved in this game, right? When you consider the fact that the Wolves generated a lot of really clean looks from three and just couldn't knock a lot of them down. I mean, it was a rough night. We'll get into it. Rough night for some of the Wolves key guys, but I think you can chalk this game up to a little bit more than shooting variance, just when you consider that the Wolves perimeter defense was not good at all in the second half. There was just not enough resistance that they provided. Couldn't slide and get in front of guys very well. And the Wolves didn't do themselves many favors in terms of what they did in the turnover department in the second half as well. I mean, the Wolves in the first half of this game had just 3 turnovers for 2 Pelicans points off turnovers. And then in the second half, the Timberwolves have 7 turnovers for 15 Pelicans points. So pretty much every turnover the Wolves had, the Pelicans are scoring off of it. But let's get into our first segment here with Who Fudged Up.
Uh-oh, somebody messed up, and it's time to let them know with Who Fudged Up.
Yeah, it was a really rough night for the Timberwolves core three beyond their stars, right? When you think about Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, those 3 combined for 19 points on 7 of 27 shooting, 3 of 15 from 3. So it was a really rough night for those guys. I mean, thank God Bones Highland came in and was able to provide a spark. We'll get into him as well. But again, you need at least one of those guys to show up and really play well. And just with the way the Timberwolves roster is constructed, and they did not get that in this game from those guys. And they didn't really make an impact doing some of the other stuff that we've seen them do. Even when Dante hasn't shot the ball particularly well, he's still made an impact on the glass or as a playmaker or in the stocks department. And we didn't see that from him. We didn't really see that from Naz either. Naz only had 3 rebounds in this game. And then Jaden, obviously only 22 minutes, really inefficient night from him. 6 points on 8 shots, 5 fouls, 2 turnovers. So it was just a really bad night for all 3 of those guys. Hopefully that they can just flush it and come back and play much better on Sunday with the way that all 3 of those guys have been playing over the course of the season. But I still think that you've got to at least be able to provide something, especially when your stars kind of have it going in the way that the Timberwolves did with Anthony Edwards, who was absolutely phenomenal, especially in the second half of this game. Ant had he had 23 in the first half, but I just thought the degree of difficulty with what he was doing in the second half, especially in that fourth quarter, was super high level from him. I mean, three really tough buckets in isolation, had a couple of really important rebounds, and I thought that you can just kind of sense when the switch flips for him in the fourth quarter of games. And so I thought he was good. I thought Julius Randle did a really good job attacking Zion Williamson off the bounce and was really efficient inside the arc. It was tough sledding for Julius from 3. He missed all 5 of his 3-point shots, but was 9 of 13 inside the arc, got to the free throw line, made all 6 of his free throws. And then had 7 assists too, which was really important, I think, for Julius and Ant to combine for 11 assists and not turn the ball over or turn the ball over just one time between them was pretty special. So it was honestly just a matter of not enough guys beyond the 2 stars showing up. I think, those guys, I don't think there's a whole lot they're doing right now thinking, hey, we could have done more to win this game, when you consider how well-rounded this group is and how well that their depth usually plays in this game. So tough one for the Wolves, but hopefully they'll all be able to flush it and come back and be ready to go on Sunday. All right. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash. This season's heating up, and DoorDash has a way to keep fans in their bag the whole way through. Whether you're watching the highlights, the tunnel fits, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes the entire season more fun. Because every player has their bag. With DoorDash, fans have one too. DoorDash keeps your snacks stocked, your gear fresh, and your watch party vibes absolutely on point. There are nights when your team stresses you out. Let DoorDash become your post-game therapy. Sometimes you just need dessert now. If the group chat says pull up, DoorDash makes sure you show up prepared. Snacks, cups, even a phone charger for that one friend who's always at 2%. From tip-off to overtime, stay in your bag and order on DoorDash. Get snacks, drinks, gear, whatever gets you through the season, delivered right to your door. DoorDash, in your season or in your bag all season long. Today's show is also brought to you by Quo. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. I love how simple Quo makes everything. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. It works right from your phone or computer, and you can even keep your existing number. And Quo's smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and highlight next steps, so details never slip through the cracks. It's no surprise Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free. Plus, get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. That's QUO.com/lockedonnba. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. And finally, today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff. The final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, I hope not, or building one last same game parlay. This is the game everyone's been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season's over. It's the last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, let's get into tonight's X Factor.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under-the-radar impact with today's X Factor.
Yeah, tonight's X Factor for me is Bones Hyland. I thought that he did so much to provide juice and energy in this arena on a night where the crowd was awesome. I mean, it was packed to the gills here at Target Center. And Bones is quickly becoming one of those guys where the crowd really pops whenever he does something, and he really does a good job of engaging with this crowd whenever he does something positive, whether it's whether he's making threes, drawing offensive fouls, scoring in transition, whatever the case may be. He does an excellent job of really making sure that the crowd kind of rides the wave with him. I mean, tonight he had 20 points. He was 4 of 8 from 3. And I thought he played really nice defense on Jeremiah Fears, who had just 2 points on 1 of 7 shooting and 4 turnovers. I think Bones caused at least 2 or 3 of those, which was good to see. I mean, even though Bones is only like 6'2", 6'3", I mean, he's got like a 6'8", 6'9" wingspan. So that makes up for a lot. And just looking at these 2 games without Mike Conley now, he's up to 40 points on 14 of 23 shooting, 61%, 8 of 15 from 3, 53%, 10 rebounds, 5 assists to 3 turnovers. Probably like to see the assist to turnover mark be a little bit better, but that's just kind of nitpicking with how good he's been. I mean, you look at the last 3 games, including tonight, that he scored at least played at least 25 minutes. He scored at least 17 points in all of those games. So with the extra opportunity, he's certainly running with it. I would imagine that Ayo Dosunmu will slot in above him in the rotation, so Bones will slide down to that 8th man spot. Chris Finch kind of hinted at today that they'll try to shorten the rotation to 8, maybe 8.5, kind of as the season draws to a close and the playoffs get closer. So we'll see what happens. A couple of quick hitters for you. Rudy Gobert crossed 11,000 points for his career. Also rebounded very well in this game, had 16 rebounds, 7 offensive, 6 of them came in the second quarter, 9 defensive rebounds, did a really good job against Queen and Messi inside. The Wolves dropped to 8-2 when Gobert gets at least 15 rebounds. And then Johnny Juzang. The Wolves are going to wait for the dust to settle on some of these buyout guys before bringing Mike Conley back and then maybe bringing in a second guy. But Johnny Juzang is definitely in contention for that last roster spot. And Dane Moore reported that he's been getting consideration there. And this is a guy that, was signed to a training camp contract, earned that 2-way spot over, I believe it was Tristan Newton, by shooting lights out in preseason and in training camp, did an awesome job. And so it was really cool to see Ant celebrate him and Bones celebrate him and the entire crowd really celebrate him as a 2-way guy, making a legit impact in this game coming off the bench. I mean, he played 10 minutes, but again, I thought did a really good job and made his presence felt in a fun way. So you got to give shout out to Johnny for the way that he's been just ready to go. Let's get into what we'll be talking about.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Yeah. So Sunday we'll see the debut of Ayo Dosunmu, the Wolves' new trade deadline acquisition. Finch spoke to the media before the game tonight, so that he loves that Ayo's an all-around guard who's continued to have rapid growth offensively, enjoying a career year on that end, and just really likes that the Wolves will be able to use him in 3-guard lineups as the 3, and said that, when the Wolves tried some of those 3-guard lineups more recently in January, that they just got small in a hurry, but that he can also play the 1 in some bigger lineups, which I think is going to be great. You mentioned that, the impact that he has is pretty similar to Nickeil, and that should make it, pretty easy for some of his teammates to get up to speed playing with him. I'd expect that you'd see a lot of the similar lineups that you saw Nickeil in. So you think about the kind of the bridging the first and second quarters, and then bridging the third and fourth quarters in a way that I think this team will continue to need. And then I think we'll just be more of a two-way guy than Jalen Clark in some of those minutes in a way that I think will give the Wolves a little bit more flexibility on both ends of the floor. And then he also spoke about Julian Phillips, said it was a really good pickup by us, credited him for being just a super athletic, long and rangy wing, so that outside of Jaden, the Wolves don't really have any of those guys on the roster. And so there's not really going to be a role for him right away, but that, we'll see what he can do moving forward kind of in the years to come. And then also quickly on TJ Shannon, Chris Finch said that he doesn't have a specific date for TJ, but that this week is a huge one for TJ. He's going to get into some live action this week on practice that he's close, but he's not like that close or a return is imminent. I'd be surprised if he comes back before the All-Star break, but I believe TJ will be here in Minnesota during the All-Star break, and hopefully we'll be ready to go after the All-Star break. And Finch said that, there still could be a role for a TJ or a Jalen Clark, but that we'll just have to see how TJ comes back. So we'll see. I think it'll be fun to see TJ and I'd assume two Chicago kids, Chicago public school kids that then ended up starring at Illinois, be able to take the floor together. So that's all we got tonight. We'll be back here on Sunday afternoon to get you set, a little precursor to Super Bowl 60. So I appreciate you guys joining me tonight, and I'll be back with Luke on Sunday. Until then, signing out.